There's a moment most people don't talk about. A quiet, invisible moment where fear walks into the room, sits across from you, and says nothing, but you feel everything. Your chest tightens, your thoughts race, your confidence shakes. And in that moment, most people do one thing: they avoid it. They distract themselves, they run, they pretend it doesn't exist. But not her. She doesn't run from fear. She faces it. And that's what makes her powerful. See, most people misunderstand strength. They think strength is loud. They think it's dominance, control, never showing weakness. But real strength is standing in front of something that terrifies you, and choosing not to move. That's what makes her different. When fear shows up, she doesn't deny it. She doesn't cover it up with fake confidence or arrogance. She acknowledges it. She feels it. She lets it exist. And then, she moves forward anyway. That's the kind of strength most people can't understand. Because facing fear requires something rare. It requires honesty. It requires vulnerability. It requires the courage to say, yes, I'm scared, but I'm not stopping. And that's exactly why many can't face her. Not because she's intimidating. Not because she's aggressive. But because she's real. Her strength doesn't come from pretending. It comes from confronting. Every fear she faces becomes a part of her growth. Every moment of doubt becomes fuel. Every challenge becomes proof that she is capable of more than she ever believed. Think about that. Most people spend their lives trying to avoid discomfort. They build routines, habits, and excuses just to stay safe. But she does the opposite. She walks toward discomfort. She understands that fear is not a stop sign, it's a signal. A signal that something matters. A signal that there's growth on the other side. And that mindset changes everything. Because once you stop running from fear, it loses its power over you. And that's what makes her unstoppable. It's not that she doesn't feel fear. It's that fear no longer controls her decisions. She controls them. She chooses to act even when her voice shakes. She chooses to step forward even when the path is unclear. She chooses to believe in herself even when doubt is loud. And that's rare. That's why people notice her. That's why people are drawn to her. And that's also why some people feel uncomfortable around her. Because her courage reflects their hesitation. Her willingness to face fear reminds others of the fears they've been avoiding. And not everyone is ready to confront that. But she doesn't change who she is to make others comfortable. She doesn't shrink her strength to fit into someone else's expectations. She doesn't silence her voice just because it challenges the room. She doesn't step back just because others hesitate. She steps forward, again and again, even when it's hard, even when it hurts, even when she's unsure. Because she understands something powerful: growth doesn't come from comfort. It comes from confrontation. Every time she faces fear, she becomes stronger. Not because the fear disappears, but because she proves to herself that she can handle it. And that builds confidence. Real confidence. Not the kind that comes from validation or approval. But the kind that comes from experience. The kind that comes from knowing, I've faced hard things before, and I made it through. That's the kind of confidence that can't be taken away. That's the kind of confidence that turns fear into strength. And here's the truth: fear will always be there. No matter how strong you become, no matter how successful you get, fear doesn't disappear. It evolves. It grows with you. New challenges bring new fears. But she doesn't wait for fear to go away. She moves with it. She understands that fear is part of the journey, not the end of it. And instead of seeing it as something negative, she sees it as something necessary. Because without fear, there is no courage. And without courage, there is no growth. That's why her strength stands out. It's not built on perfection. It's built on persistence. She fails. She struggles. She doubts. But she doesn't quit. She doesn't let those moments define her. She learns from them. She uses them. She grows through them. And that's what makes her resilient. Resilience isn't about never falling. It's about getting back up, every single time. And she does. Even when it's exhausting. Even when it feels like too much. Even when everything inside her says, stop. She keeps going. Because she knows something most people forget: the only way out is through. You can't avoid fear forever. You can't outrun it. At some point, you have to face it. And when you do, you realize something incredible. It wasn't as powerful as you thought. The fear that once felt overwhelming becomes manageable. The challenge that once felt impossible becomes achievable. And the person you once doubted becomes stronger. That's the transformation. That's the power of facing fear. And that's the power she carries. It's quiet, but it's undeniable. It's not always visible, but it's always present. It shows up in her actions, in her decisions, in the way she handles adversity. She doesn't need to prove her strength to anyone. She lives it. And that's why it's so powerful. Because real strength doesn't need validation. It doesn't need attention. It doesn't need approval. It just is. And when you see it, you recognize it. You feel it. It inspires you. It challenges you. It makes you question your own limits, your own fears, your own choices. Because if she can face her fear, what's stopping you from facing yours? That's the question. And it's not an easy one to answer. Because facing fear means stepping into the unknown. It means risking failure. It means being vulnerable. But it also means growth. It means freedom. It means becoming the person you're capable of being. And that's worth everything. So the next time fear shows up, don't run from it. Face it. Feel it. Understand it. And then move forward anyway. Because that's where your strength is. Not in avoiding fear, but in confronting it. Not in pretending it doesn't exist, but in proving it doesn't control you. That's the difference. That's the shift. That's the moment where everything changes. And when you reach that point, you'll understand something powerful. Fear was never your enemy. It was your teacher. And once you learn from it, once you grow through it, once you face it, you become unstoppable.